Today on our 2017 Toyota RAV4, we're going to be taking a look at the Thule FastRide roof-mounted bike rack. When you're setting up your crossbar spread, we want to make sure it's not going to be any less than 18 inches from the center of your crossbar to the center of the other crossbar, and we don't want it to be any more than 36 inches. So whenever you're setting that up, it's usually going to be about in the same bounds as your other accessories. So just make sure you do that so it is going to be compatible. We are going to be able to fit tire widths up to 3 inches, so this isn't going to be for your fat tire bikes, and it is relatively lighter weight since it's on the roof. That's typical with most roof bike racks. So we're going to have a capacity of about 37.5 pounds, and with this little sliding cradle right here, we're going to be able to get the kiddos bikes here, but then wheelbases all the way up to 48 inches. As far as overall dimensions go, we're going to have an overall length of about 54 inches. It's only going to take up at its widest point about 8 3/4 inches, and it's only going to sit up about 3 1/4 inches. So if you don't really want to take this thing off and put it back on all the time, you can keep it up on here. It's not going to add a whole lot of height. And the nice thing about the width, we have plenty of crossbar space to put whatever other accessories like a wheel holder up on top of our roof. If you do plan on keeping it on your roof, you don't have to worry about stuff fading away or starting to rust away over time. We are going to have an aluminum construction with a nice powder coated finish, so it is going to resist against rust and corrosion. And we do have a higher end plastic, so it isn't going to fade in the sun. So if you want to keep it up here, you're good to go. I have it on the passenger side just so if we are pulled over on the side of the road for whatever reason, we're not going to be in traffic. But if you do want to put it on the driver's side, if you're having 2 of them maybe, what you want to do, there's going to be 4 little bolts on the bottom of this little housing. You're going to take those out, and then you can flip this around so it's going to be on the other end. We're just doing it on the passenger side, so we didn't have to flip it around, but you can if you need it to be on the driver's side. One thing we want to make sure is on your bike, we do want to make sure that the fork dropout, which is this little gap right here, is going to be at least 21 millimeters, and that's what this is going to require. So anything up from that will work too. So now that that's done, take your wheel off if you haven't already, and then you can go ahead and take your bike and put it up on the rack, lay it into place, just like that. Then we can go ahead and start tightening this righty-tighty. Once it's nice and snug, not really going anywhere, we can go ahead and secure the back. Just adjust this. And just like any other bike rack, just go across your wheel. Make sure that this is over our wheel to protect it. And then you can cinch it down. We could do a couple different things with this. You can just let it hang, or you can go underneath and use that same little slot we use to get it out of the way to store it up to keep it from flapping around. We are going to have a cable lock on the bike rack, which is awesome. So it just slides out just like that. And what I typically do is you'll take it, go like this, and wrap it around the frame somehow, and then it'll come back and connect right here. But you are going to need to grab a locking core. So if you are grabbing it for your roof rack and the bike rack with the cable, then you should grab more than 2. But if you're just looking to lock down your bike and the rack, you can just grab 2 of them, and that'll go right here. And that'll allow it to lock down into place, just so it'll be a nice theft deterrent to those that have little sticky fingers. Obviously, if you're using a fork mounted or a through axle mounted bike rack, you're going to have to do something with your wheel. So you can either throw it in the back of your car, or if you don't have room or don't want to put it back there because it's dirty, I do recommend grabbing this. This is a Thule tire holder. So you just take this, fit it down into that slot, tighten it up. And the nice thing about this is it does have a cable as well, so you don't have to worry about somebody running off with it. And you can just take this just like that, lock it into place like that, and we are ready to go. I really like this just because you never know what's going to be in your car. I always have a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be in there, but it stays in there most of the time. So with this, you don't have to worry about making room for your equipment. The bike's pretty stable up here. It's just as stable as the bike rack, which is stable. But we're gonna put it to the ultimate test. We do have a test course outside, so we're gonna take it on that, set up some GoPros just to give you an idea of what it's gonna look like when you go over some of those bumps you might see on the road. So we're gonna do some evasive maneuvering. We're basically just gonna take some sharp turns at about 15, 20 miles an hour just to simulate you changing lanes or just taking a simple turn at a light. We're gonna take a big left turn just to put all that load on one side. And on to the test course. So this is going to be extreme conditions, really. You hit a pothole or just some speed bumps in your subdivision. It's gonna simulate what it's gonna feel whenever it's up on your roof. And it's doing pretty good. Whether you're going biking off-grid and there's some really rough, uneven terrain, or you're just trying to get out of your subdivision, or the road's real potholy, this is gonna simulate what that's gonna feel like and look like up on the roof. There are a couple different ways we can mount this to our roof, and it all just depends on your crossbars. So if you do have T-tracks in your crossbars on your roof, you will be able to use the T-track mount, and that's what we're gonna be doing today. But if you don't have that and you just wanna wrap around, we're gonna show you how to do that. So what you wanna do, one, we're gonna take this little plastic piece here, and this is just going to go right here, and then there is a hole here and here. And when that goes, we're gonna have a little screw that'll go in the back to tighten that down. And then once that is there, we're gonna have our little piece that goes through. It's gonna go through this little slot right there. And as you can see, it'll wrap back around just like that with our little T-bolt right here. And that'll just go basically like this. So if you do plan on wrapping it around, it does come with the kit, which is nice. So you have the option, but today we're not going to. I like using the T-tracks just because it's a little bit simpler, a lot less going on. So that's what we're gonna do today. So I'm gonna set those to the side for now and get going. So we'll take our little T-bolt here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna place it right there. We're gonna take one of our two. This one's gonna go to the front. This one is going to sit in the back. So we wanna line this up, and once we get it upright like this, we'll go ahead and thread this on. We don't have to thread it down all the way. We do want a little bit of play just because we need it to be a little loose whenever it goes up onto our roof. If you are gonna use the FastRide for your through axle bikes, all we need to do is swap out some hardware. But the hardware that we're gonna put in does not come with the kit. So down here is the kit that you need. This is just an adapter set for all the different through axle sizes that you need. But this is not gonna be for the boost. That is another part that you will need to buy separately. So all you need to do is take your one tool that comes with this rack, and we're gonna loosen all four of these bolts up, just like this. And this is just what holds this little section in. So once we loosen that up enough, we can take it out. So whether you're just converting it to a through axle adapter or you're just switching this around because you're gonna have it on the other side of the vehicle, that's how you do it. So notice that we have this little groove right here, and on the kit that you have to buy separately, it's gonna have the same exact groove. And in the hole right here, the groove's gonna be facing up. So all you need to do is just slide that in, make sure it is nice and even on both sides, and then you can go ahead and tighten it down. Just basically tighten it up to where it was before so the thing won't move at all. And then just depending on whatever kind of bike that you have is gonna determine which adapter you're gonna use. So the bike that we're gonna use is gonna be the one at the end. And all you gotta do with these is just put them on in there, snaps into place just like that. And now we're ready to put this up on the roof. And one thing I recommend is doing this on a table. It's probably not the easiest to do up on the roof, but you can do it. And on this side, if you are going with the wraparound option, you just stick it in like this, rotate it, and it'll sit just like that. But again, we're not gonna use that today. This side's a little bit more simple than the other side. So now that that's done, you can go ahead and prepare your roof rack. We're using the Thule Aero bars. So all we really have to do is just slide these little caps over. And the little weather strip is split in the middle, so we don't have to cut anything. If you do have a weather strip that is just a solid piece, we are gonna have to trim that up. So I recommend really just taking it all off, putting it where you want it, and then you can start cutting to get the right amount. But if you are looking for a roof rack system for this too, I highly recommend grabbing the Thule Aero bars. So once we do that, we can get it all lined up. What I like to do is start with the back one, just because this one's gonna be able to move. So once we get that in there, into the slot, then we can kind of rotate it back to match our crossbar spread. Once all that's done, what we want to do is turn these counterclockwise till we get a decent amount of tension. The goal here is to have a decent amount of resistance going down, but not too much. So a couple more turns back, just like that. And then we're gonna do the same exact thing on this side. Righty tighty. Perfect. Now's a good time to pop this little cap out. I'm just using the hardware that we didn't use for the install. And put that to the side. You can throw it away if you want. So we are gonna have this that comes with the kit, and that's just gonna mimic what a locking core would do. Basically, it's just gonna allow us to turn it and somewhat lock it so this won't come up, as you can see. But I really recommend getting locking cores for this, so we can have one right here. And if you do have a Thule roof rack like we do, you can get it all keyed alike. So do that now if you did end up getting the locking cores. The next thing we need to do is a little strap. So I want to be able to pull down on the side of the vehicle, so I'm gonna feed the first part through on the inside of the rack. Pull it all nice and tight, and then we can put our little sleeve on here. And what you can do is we can just kind of fold this back just like that for now, so it's ready to rip whenever we get our bike on top. On each side, we're gonna have this little pocket where we can put our excess strap, so it is nice and out of the way whenever we get our bike up and onto the roof. Just to give you a little bit of advice, I've been messing with the FastRide and also the Top Ride. If you do have a through axle bike, I really don't think that the FastRide is gonna be the best way to go. This is mainly gonna be for fork mounted bike racks, and it can be converted to work with your through axle bikes. But if you're looking something just for your through axle bike, the Top Ride is definitely a lot easier to get it loaded up. All in all, I definitely like how it installed. It was quick and easy, and it's not that difficult to get the bike up and onto the roof bike rack. The good thing about this vehicle, it's not too tall, but if you are a little bit shorter, let's say 5.5 foot or so, I would definitely recommend getting a step to be able to get up and put it onto your roof. Again, this was the Thule FastRide on our 2017 Toyota RAV4.